Salutama tutti, signore, signore. What is going on, everyone? I am Pat the Pac-Man. Welcome to another episode of Barking for Balance, the podcast where we talk about dogs, but we can talk about anything else that is meant to teach, inspire, and entertain. On this episode, I want to talk about how God will bring you the right people when it's the right time. I also want to talk about two major pet peeves of mine when it comes to the housebreaking process. On one of the podcasts, we talked about how to housebreak properly, and there's two things that I highly recommend not doing. That one of them in particular really pisses me off, and that is not using weavy pads and not using bells on the door. Bedamacha santissima. That one alone, me fa surare. That one gets me so aggravated. But I want to go over a little bit about those topics, and yeah. But before we get started, for those of you that have the pleasure of seeing me on video here, I just want to say I just got a haircut today, so I'm in a pretty good mood. Whenever I get a haircut, I'm always in a good mood, and I feel fresh and sexy and hot. So yeah, I just want to note, in case nobody noticed, I got a nice haircut. See, I'm looking good. My mom would be proud, so I'm not growing it out, and it's easy to maintain too, so that's always good. And on the topic of hair, I'm sure you heard this on the news or on social media. I mean, I'm assuming it's on the news too. I don't know. I've seen it on social media. I'm not sure if it's that big of a hot topic or what, but I just found it to be pretty hysterical. How this person that I will call a moron decided to use a spray glue on her hair because she had run out of toothpaste. I mean, not toothpaste. She ran out of, God, I wish she would have ran out of toothpaste. That would have been a blessing in disguise. She would have used glue on her mouth and would have like gotten rid of Anyway, no, she used glue, like some kind of industrial spray glue on her hair because she ran out of hairspray. So I'm a little baffled by that. Like, I always say this, like, you know, in America, common sense has become a foreign language. But Jesus Christ, how stupid do you have to be that you use a glue, an industrial strength glue on your freaking hair? And she had to have surgery to have this glue removed. I mean, I don't even know how to take this. You know, I've seen it like people that are defending her and, you know, well, you know, the wording on the hair products. I mean, whatever you put on a hair product is a hair product. You could put whatever, it's a hair product. And if you don't understand that's a hair product, then what is this country becoming? It's just a bunch of morons just running around like, you just buy this and put it around my hair. Let me brush my teeth with detergent. What the hell? I don't understand. Like, what is happening to this country? Like, do people mistake grape nuts with cat litter? Like, what the hell? I don't understand it, because the wording on the product she was using had the word glue on it. Then she saw this other glue and said, I guess it's the same shit, so I'm just going to use this. And this is the part that really annoys me, is that now this person is going to be a billionaire, a millionaire. Oh, well, she's not a billionaire, because she's going to sue the company and she's going to get money out of this. So what are we doing here? Are we consistently going to reward stupidity? I mean, this is the pattern we're on. We are consistently rewarding stupidity. I'm just baffled. I'm just baffled by it. And I guess that's part of the problem is, you know, people reward bad behaviors on their dog and then they wonder why they continue to behave badly. And I guess this is the same thing. Like, we're going to reward stupidity, so we'll just keep being stupid. What's next? Like, if somebody gets diarrhea, they're going to stick a freaking some cement up their ass. I mean, che se infilano. I shit on culo. I mean, seriously, I'm baffled by that. I don't know. Share your opinions on it. Is this just me, or is that just the stupidest shit ever? And the part that really annoys me, this one is going to become rich because she's a dumbass. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Anyways, let's talk about, now that I'm aggravating, you know what? I need to use something over here. These are my stress balls over here. They got the little, see, they got the little, you know, the little ringy thing, and you just like twirl them around and they relax me. Relax. Yeah, I know that looks a little weird. You know what? Let me put my balls away. Let me put my balls away. Okay, this is taking a turn. Holy shit. Okay, moving right along here. Wow. Let's talk about housebreaking. Okay. Can't even use my balls for stressing anymore. And that's the whole of the story. Anyway, so my balls are away. Okay, let me move it along because I'm getting myself in trouble here. So Housebreaking process. So on one of the podcasts, we talk about the housebreaking process that I recommend. Okay. And two things that I always recommend against. One of them is wee wee pads, the use of wee wee pads. Why am I so against wee wee pads? Because wee wee pads teach your dog to go in the house. That's what they do. So it's this little square, and it's meant for your dog to pee and poop on this little square. And I have worked with countless people that have multiple wee wee pads around the house that, they swear by it, whatever the case may be. And I guess to a certain extent, I understand the convenience of it. But here's the problem. In my entire career, I have worked with one person who has a toy Maltese, and she is the only person that we have been successful. And I'm going to say it flat out. I was against it. I recommended against it. I actually fought her on it. She's one of my favorite people. She's, I watch, you could see Sophie, her little name, Sophie, toy Maltese. She's on a few videos, instructional videos that we have going on. Little white, little fluffy, little cutesy pants. I watch her when her mommy goes away on vacation. And, I worked with her back in the day when she got her, and I was against the whole wee wee pad concept, but this is what she wanted to do. And it works. She is the only person that successfully has been able to use the wee wee pad, and there's no problems with it. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, okay, listen, God bless you. That's great. But 99% of the time, it's not going to work. Like I said, in my entire career, this has been the only case that it has been successful. And she will literally go on this little square, and she'll pee on it and she'll poop on it religiously, and the whole bit, no problems. She also doesn't have behavioral problems that stem from this kind of thing, which I'll get to in a second. But like I said, there's going to be occasions for it. So wee wee pads, what they do is they basically, like I said, teach your dog to go in the house. So most of the time, when they start to go onto this little square, after a while, they start to go in other places around the house too. That includes rugs, that includes all over the place, because basically you are teaching your dog that the entire house is your toilet. It's like a dog park. So they're going to pee and poop all over the place. And you see this happening often. Well, they'll start off on the little square, and then all of a sudden they'll start to move away from it, and then they'll start to pee over here, and then they'll start to pee over there, and then it goes all over the different areas. And before you know it, your whole house is a toilet. So you have people that start placing wee wee pads all over the house. Okay. And again, and the people will ask me and they'll say, well, what can I do? I already told you what to do. Don't use the goddamn things. You know what I'm saying? People will complain about the fact that their dog is ripping them to shreds. That's because you're not taking your dog outside, to walk, to be entertained, to be physically and mentally stimulated. These dogs are bored, so they're going to rip up the freaking wee wee pad. That's the problem with them. There's so many consequences. And then, it's so challenging to get a dog to come off of the wee wee pad to then go outside, to transition them off the wee wee pad to go outside. Again, I know somebody's going to say, well, I had no problem. I could make my dog go on the wee wee pad, and I could make my dog go outside with no problem. God bless you. I'm sure there's cases of people that actually can do that. I'm sure that if we dissect it, we're going to find some problems with it, but whatever. The bottom line is that 99% of the time, transitioning them from a wee wee pad to going outside is a challenge. You also cannot have it both ways. You can't have a dog that's going to go on the wee wee pad and outside. It's one or the other. I know, like I said, somebody's going to say, well, okay, great. Make a video. Tell us how you did it. God bless. I'm sure, it was just pot luck. You know what I mean? You just got lucky there. So God bless you. But like I said, the biggest challenge is that the wee wee pads teach your dog to go inside the house. So take your dog outside. I've heard all the excuses. Well, the reason why is because they're puppies. They don't have all their shots. You don't have to take them on a long walk. You just want to go in a small area that that's safe and secure, and let them go there. You can do that. You don't want to keep your dog segregated and locked up in the house during that crucial period, because that's going to become a problem. So take them outside. The wee wee pad is not going to help you. And then when you transition them off of it, you're going to be complaining, well, now there's accidents, and how do I do it? You start things off right off the bat. If you do things right off the bat, you won't have to backtrack and be a pain in the ass and do things the right way after you've done things the wrong way. Start it off on the right foot. Do things the right way. Throw the wee wee pads away. Give them to like a rescue or shelter. They could use them for their purposes, but they're not meant to teach dogs to go to the bathroom. They don't do that. They teach your dog to go in the house. It's that simple. And also, which this is where we come into the other topic, the bell thing. There's also a leadership issue, which I want to address that as soon as I'm done with the other thing here. It's a leadership issue of you have to be in control of the bathroom break. Otherwise, they're in control of the bathroom break. And ends up happening is that if they're in control of that small little insignificant area that you don't think is a big deal, it snowballs into other areas that will and eventually can become big deals. Okay. So no wee pads. The other topic, oh my God, you know what? I need my stress balls here because this is a tough one. I need my stress balls. This is one that really pisses me fa arrabbiare con una idea. Adesso mi scoppia. I just want to explode. Okay, so what is that topic? Okay, I'm putting my balls away again. These balls. Bells on the door. What the hell does that mean? People that put bells on their door that their dog will go to, tap the bell, and these individuals will think that that is their dog telling them that they have to go to the bathroom. And they train their dog to ring the bell to tell them that they have to go to the bathroom. It's so freaking stupid. Bigette campanelle, team feeling culo. Take the goddamn bells, put them away, hang them up for Christmas. You don't need them to. They're not teaching your dog to go to the bathroom. Newsflash. They're not teaching your dog to go to the bathroom. What you are teaching your dog is that if they ring the freaking bells, if suona una campana, the big rectangle opens up and they get to go outside. And here's the newsflash. Out there is more fun than in the house. So they want to be out there where there's tons of sights, smells, and sounds. You understand what I'm saying? So these are the people that will have their dog ringing the bell after the dog just went to the bathroom 20 minutes before. Oh, but he has to go to the bathroom. And these are the people that take their dog outside multiple times a day. And when I say multiple times, of course they're going to go out multiple times. I'm talking like 20 plus. In an hour, these dogs go out like 4 times because they're ringing the bell. Well, that's what it means. They got to go outside. No, it's the same shit as the treats. Same shit as the treats. Dog gets a treat after going to the bathroom. No, they're being rewarded for that. See, they're being rewarded when they're outside. Then they come back in, they get a treat, or even outside, they get a treat. They're associating with that situation, being outside. So now they go outside because they're going to get a treat. You understand? It has nothing to do with housebreaking. Just like the doggy doors, okay? And I've worked with quite a few clients that have doggy doors, and I got to tell you, I can think of 2 cases in particular of doggy dogs that are not a big deal, but these dogs had aggression towards other dogs for that exact reason. One dog in particular would not go. They could not leave their house. They couldn't bring them to a boarding facility or to somebody else's house because this dog will only go to the bathroom in the backyard. Okay, so take the campanella and fill out the lintocool and levati l'avance. They are so stupid. And anybody that says that this is what you want to do clearly does not know shit about dogs. Okay, they're ringing the bell. It's like a circus act. Ring the bell, ding. No, you're such a good boy. Here you go outside. And then you come back in, and 5 minutes later, I go outside again. He's so good. He knows he got to go to the bathroom. Ma va fatta cagata, oscuro. Oh, Gesù, San Giuseppe. Yeah. Told you it was a pet peeve. Hold on, let me get my balls out again. Hold on and get my balls. Oh, let me relax. So here's the other issue as to why not being in control of the bathroom break is a problem. Why is it a problem? Because if you are not in control of the bathroom break, you are not going to be in control of anything else either. Okay. That's how it starts. They're telling you when to go outside. They're telling you open the door. You become their doorman. Do you understand? You are their doorman. You need to tell them when to go outside. My dogs do not tell me when to go outside unless they are sick. And that happens if they're telling me they have to go, something's up. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, I tell them what to go. And there's times when I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to take you. Let's go. And they're just chilling. They're just nice and calm and relaxed. Oh my God, I'm such a bad dog owner. No, they go out. They used to go out 4 times a day. Now we're up to 5 times a day just because they're getting older. And I want to add a quick bathroom break. Now, 2 out of those 5 are literally 3 seconds of just outside quick pee, we're right back in. That's how quick it is. And I take them both out together on leashes, the whole bit, we come right back in. That's a normal scenario. That's how it's supposed to be. Not every half an hour, every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes. That is just absurd. Okay. So it's not a convenience thing. It's a stupid thing. Okay. They are telling you, I want to go outside. And it's not, I repeat, it is not. Me siente stupataricchie. It is not because they have to go to the bathroom. It's because they want to go outside. That's why. Now, here's what I always hear. Yeah, but when they go outside, they go to the bathroom. No shit, they're dogs. That's what dogs do. You take them out every 5 seconds. They're going to pee. A drop, but they're going to pee. But it doesn't mean they have to pee. It doesn't mean they got to go. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't make sense. You need to be in control of the bathroom break, just like you need to be in control of everything else. If you are letting them control the bathroom break, you have problems. And I guarantee that if you look at yourselves and other people that have that situation, I guarantee they're going to be like, holy shit. So he's right. These dogs have some problems. And that's one of the things that people are doing wrong. Control. It's everything about establishing leadership, directions, bounds, and limits. It boils down to the same shit. I repeat this all the time. It's that simple. You need to be in control of them. Otherwise, they tell you what to do and you got a problem. You understand? So, I campanelli, vai a talamare. Go throw them away. Throw the bells away. You hear me? Oh, Gesù Cristo in pietà. Oh, let me get my balls out again here. These balls are working overtime today. Oh my God. It's just absurd. I will argue about this endlessly because it's the truth. It's that simple. If you're telling them when to go, that's the way it's supposed to be. If they're telling you, this is basically how they see it. Open up the goddamn door. I want to go outside. You're their bitch. And then you wonder why it all snowballs into all other areas. It's that simple. If your dog is telling you when to go outside and they're going every half an hour or less, you got a problem. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's longer than that, if your dog is telling you what to do, who's in charge now? Argue that with me. I dare you argue that with me. Okay. All right. Let's calm down. Okay. So let me talk about this board for a second here. I got to calm this down because goddamn bells piss me off when people argue with me about the goddamn bells. God, ci voglio dare un cazzotto mucca. Oh. Okay. So my little board here. So we got socks, we got pepper. Well, actually Pepper's down here. We got socks, we got pepper. I got to figure out a way because, she can't see with the microphone in the way. Hold on, let me move it out of the way. Hold on, I'll do it this way. There we go. There's Pepper. See, that's my baby girl. That's my baby girl, Pepper. Okay. I got to figure out how to deal with this. But then over here, my boy Peanut. That's my baby boy Peanut. Okay. So, I actually wanted to talk about this little board here. And what I like to do is I want to feature some of your dogs. So you guys want to have your pets? Doesn't have to be dog, it could be anything. Just as long as they're big enough where you could see them and it's, they look cool. Let me know, send me some messages and we'll have your dogs featured on the, I don't know, what do you want to call this? The pet pictures or whatever. Come up with some ideas of what we're going to call this thing. I'm going to try to figure out a better situation to position it, but it's nice little background there of having our little pets. So you want your pets featured on the board? Let me know, hit me up and we'll do that. So let's talk about how God now brings you the right people. So in my particular situation, and you guys know a lot about my situation, but one thing that I talked about last time of how I discovered faith and patience, which is really the secret of not worrying and not being upset or being scared or really, it's really the best way to say it is not to worry about anything. That's just the best summary as opposed to trying to figure out a long version to say it, just to stop worrying. Okay. Faith and patience. And the way I discovered it was after I got divorced, the security guard at my job, tried to told me that, he saw me that I was in a distressed state. And he said, open up the Bible. He said, ask God a question for guidance, ask something, and then take the Bible, open it up at random, and it's going to come onto these 2 pages. So I was thinking about this and I talk about this on one of the podcasts. And if you guys want to, know more about that, I'll be more than happy to talk about it. But I was thinking about this after the podcast, and I was like, this is interesting because that particular Bible, which, if you may remember, I actually had that Bible in my desk. And I was Catholic, I went to church or whatever, but I wasn't like, super spiritual. I just went to church every Sunday kind of thing, but, I didn't pray to God. It wasn't like I am now about it. But after that podcast, I was thinking about a few things, and I realized how it's weird how I had that Bible in my desk at work after he had told me, to go and do so. And the Bible actually came from the receptionist. And this receptionist was a very spiritual person. She was, I believe she was a born again Christian. And, she sat at her desk at the front of the office, and she was just the sweetest lady. Her name was Christina. She was the sweetest, nicest person on the face of the earth. She was so, so, so nice. Everybody loved her. And she wasn't that old, but she used to I don't know, I guess she took a liking to me or whatever. And she used to like write me little notes, and in fact, I got to show you this because we're talking about, my stress balls. And I have this little note over here that she even wrote me a while back, not this one here, this one right here, which I took this one and I wrote it over here. But she had wrote, see right there. There it is. She used to write me these notes on these pieces of paper. And, this particular one says, Father, in the name of Jesus, please let me know if this is the way you want me to go. I guess this was during a time that I was going through something. I don't remember. But she used to write these notes all the time. They were very like inspirational. I still have a bunch of them saved up. And she would just give them to me at random. And then one day she gave me this Bible. And like I said, I just took it and, oh yeah, thank you. That's very nice. And put it in my drawer and, to be honest, forgot all about it. And she, at some point, within that time period, she passed away suddenly. She wasn't sick. She just passed away. And it was pretty heartbreaking. I went to her funeral and her wake and stuff. And, um, I missed her. She was, like I said, she was just the sweetest, nicest person. And after, we talked about the podcast of how I discovered faith and patience, where, the security guard told me to go open up the Bible. And I realized I had a Bible. What would have happened had I not had that Bible? Because if you, knowing myself, I realize how I don't know if I would have followed through with his instructions had I not had that Bible right in my office. Because literally, as soon as he told me, he told me the situation, I got up and I went over and I got the Bible and I did exactly what he said. But if I didn't have it there, I don't know what I've done it when I got home. I don't even know if I did have a Bible. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I did not have a Bible when what do I do? Ask my mom for a Bible? Or I don't even know if she has a Bible, to be honest. But this particular Bible was I still have it. And I have so many passages underlined, but this particular Bible was so easy to read because it wasn't like those Bibles that was, the language is very complex and it's like, what the hell does this all mean? This was just normal language and it all just made perfect sense. So it was perfect. And I got it right then and there, popped it open and read it. Now, even if I had a Bible at home, would I have remembered or cared to do so when I got home? Honestly, I don't think I would, because at that point, like the energy of it, the motivation of it would have been gone. So I don't know if I would have done that. You know what I mean? And I honestly don't think I would have. So God gave me the ability and the opportunity to meet Christina because of the fact that he had a plan for her. And the case was for her just to provide the Bible, maybe provide some spiritual support along the way. Like I said, I still have some of the stuff that she'd written. This was, going back decades ago. 2003 is when I left that company. And so, we're in year 2021. So do the math, you know what I mean? So it's been a while and I still have some of her notes. One is sitting in front of me every single day. So, you know, I don't think I would have done it. So Christina had a purpose. That's why God brought her to me. She was the right person at that moment. And then I started thinking about, what other people did God do this with where he blessed me at the right time, And then I started thinking, I realized, wait a minute, after I got married, I moved into that famous apartment where I overcame my fear of dogs. Well, let's backtrack this for a second. That's my rewind sound. Anyway, let's backtrack this for a second. So while I was married, I walked into a pet store to show my sister and my nieces a parrot. I'm a lover of birds. That's why I got my own. You're going to meet him pretty soon. Not today, but at some point you're going to meet him. You know, to show this bird. And as soon as we walked in the door, there was this lady who was looking to adopt out cats. She had some kittens that, me and my ex, we adopted two of them. We got two of the kittens. And this woman was there. And I really wasn't an animal lover. Didn't know anything about animals, but she was phenomenal. Her name was Vivian. Is Vivian. She's still around. Her name is Vivian. She she used, I don't know, she just was cool. I mean, she used to make fun of me a little bit. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? You can't even hold a cat. Cause I didn't even know how to hold a kitten at that point. That's how animal ignorant I was. I didn't even know how to hold a kitten. So she used to, like, yell at me and stuff. You don't even know how to hold it like this. What's wrong with you? Whatever. And so she used to check on me every once in a while just to make sure that I was doing good. And I, was kind of like, handling well and whatever. She's really a nice person, major animal lover, cat expert, so, I didn't realize like the impact of her presence and what her purpose was. It was just, she was a cat lady, you know what I mean? And she was cool. Like I said, we would talk, but it was always about cats, and that's the end of it. But we kind of like got along. It was a nice little friendship that we had there, And so, we walked in the pet store to show my sister, my nieces a bird, met this cat lady, adopted some cats, and then got divorced. At that point, I was looking for an apartment, and finding an apartment that I could afford was quite a challenge, and I was struggling with it. And my only other option was to, move back in with my parents, which I did not want to do. So out of nowhere, I get a phone call from Vivian, and she was basically checking up on me to, like she's done a billion times before, to see how I was doing with the cats, And I told her about the situation, and I told her about how, got divorced, and, she had taken the cats, and, I guess she knew this, that it was a train wreck too. And she agreed that it was a good thing, not just the divorce thing, but also the fact that she took the cats because she was clearly better suited for them. And so I was telling her about the fact that I was, looking for an apartment, and I, was trying to find something, and blah, 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 blah. And she told me that she had an apartment available for rent in one of her houses, and she was flexible on the rent, and but she wanted somebody that she could trust to live there. And it was right next door to her house. And okay, so I went to look at it, and it was not the greatest apartment, but it was my first apartment, you know what I mean? Like my first time living by myself. It was, like, even now it's like exciting. My mom still makes fun of it. It was like, we call it the castle castello, because it was just I mice avevi soce, it was just old, and it wasn't great, but it was my first apartment. So to me, it was awesome, And so, it wasn't like the greatest place, but I could afford it, and it was, and so I took it, and that was the place where, believe it or not, I met the two dogs, the bull mastiff and the coonhound, where eventually I overcame my fear of dogs. So we look at it from like this whole thing of, had I not gone to that apartment, had I not ended up in that apartment, would I have ever overcome my fear of dogs? I don't know. I don't know. Had I not walked into that pet store, had we not adopted those cats, you know what I mean? So there's just a lot of situations that, when I think about it, I'm like, how did you do? Like, I talked to God, I'm like, how did you do that? Like, you put these pieces together, and this whole thing just purposely just to get to this point, So, like Christina and Vivian, and and even Marvin, like, even like Marvin, when I talk about Marvin, Marvin was a security guard at the desk, and I'd been working there for like 5 years. I saw him every single day. I used to go home for lunch. So you figure, I come to work, that's one time. I leave work, that's two times. I come back from work to lunch, from lunch, that's three times. I leave, that's four times. Never talked to him once, never even said hello, because he used to be like, he just had his head in this thing, and he just like would look up and just supervise and whatever. Never said a word for at least 5 years. And then all of a sudden, here's this guy in one of the worst moments of my life. And here he is, telling me the secret, about to give me the secret to happiness, to success, to everything, the secret to everything. But had Christina not given me that Bible, I never would have found that secret. You know what I mean? And I know somebody's going to say, well, you probably would. You know what? I don't know. You know, I don't know. And it doesn't really matter because this is what happened. And when I think about it, it's so freaking cool because it goes back to like not having to worry about stuff. Yeah, not having to worry about. I'm getting emotional, getting a little emotional about it. So it's not having to worry about stuff, because God will provide all the stuff that's necessary. He'll provide the people that are necessary, even though it may seem like an insignificant situation. God provided me the people that I needed for a reason, you know? So, and I mean, when I think about it again is, and here's Christina, she passed away afterwards. I mean, unexpectedly young, the whole bit. And it was just, and then I moved on from the company. So where Marvin was and, got divorced, you know, who would have known? Like she called me out of nowhere just to check up on the cats while I was trying to find an apartment. It's just crazy. And then the same person that was a cat lady that really meant like just two passing ships in the night ended up being like a crucial person in my life, somebody who was just so meaningful in my life where when we look back we can say wow, you know and then I thought about somebody else who her name was Christine. I'm sorry, her name was Jessica. This I was at a charity event, a charity dinner that I used to go every single year. And coincidentally, it was always on my birthday, November 1st, in case you wonder when my birthday is. Wish me happy birthday. November 1st. And it was always on November 1st, this thing. And I've been going there for a few years, religiously. And so here I am, I'm sitting at this table, and right next to me is a woman. And next to her is her daughter. And her daughter was pregnant. And so I just started chatting with the woman, just chit chatting and whatever. And then we start chatting with, her daughter joined in. So the three of us just start chit chatting. And, during that time, I was also in the process of working with dogs like as a hobby. I was just, I think I was still at the shelter and I was going to people's houses. I remember that. No, actually, I wasn't going to people's houses yet. No, I was going to people's houses. I was working with them at the shelter. Again, it was just a hobby, it was just, not getting paid at all, just going to people's houses, going to the shelter. It was just, this was during a time period where it was starting to take over my life. It hadn't taken over completely, but it was starting to. And as you already know, I was struggling to find a career path. I was still being a financial advisor. And I used to give out my information for the people that wanted to stay in touch with me and wanted to continue for me to help them on my business card, my financial advisor business card. And I used to scribble my cell phone on the business card. And this is how they used to contact me, which now that I think about it, I find this kind of funny because never once out of all those business cards that I gave out, not one person ever contacted me for help with insurance or financial services or investments or insurances or whatever. Not one person. I find that kind of humorous. But anyway, so yeah, so I'm sitting here with these ladies and we just started chit chatting and whatever. And, I'm not sure how the topic of dogs came up, but basically she had two dogs, one of which had some aggression issues towards people. And so, she was concerned because, she was pregnant, her and her husband, this was their first baby. And, their dog had some incidences where he had gone after people, especially children. That was the biggest problem. So they were a little concerned as to what was going on. So I told them a little bit about my situation. I was like, well, I could help you out. Here's my card. I got her phone. I was like, I'll give you a call, I'll come by and I'll help you out. No problem. So that was the end of that. And so I ended up calling her like a couple days later, went to her house, met her and her husband and the dog. And to make a long story short, of course, the grandmaster that I am. So, of course, I helped them and I fixed the situation. I utilized some neighbors. That's an irrelevant situation, but I did help them. I gave them some tools. I gave them the ability to learn what they needed to do. And I also showed them that they didn't have to be afraid. It was basically went down to the same stuff as the dogs were being spoiled. We established direction, boundaries, and limits, the whole bit. I had to teach them how to be calm and firm, the whole 9 yards. And all of a sudden, like miraculous, like anything else. And now they're living happily ever after. I think they have 2 kids now. Um, so yeah, so that's good. But like I said, we're at this, I'm sitting down at this event. Now, why is this so important? Is because while I was working with Jessica and her husband, she said to me a phrase, and we got to become rather friendly. So I was telling her how, I was a financial advisor and I was struggling, trying to figure out I didn't want to do it anymore and whatever, whatever. And she said the phrase to me. She goes, "Pat, you're really good at this. Why don't you do this for a living?" She goes, she tried to pay me and I refused because, like I said, it was just a hobby. So I never took payment for anything. I was going to people's houses for hours at a time, but I never took a dime because it was just a hobby. And she said, she tried to force money. And I was like, no, 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 don't worry about it. And so while we were doing this stuff, she said, "Pat, you're really good at this. I mean, why don't you try to do this as a career?" And I'm like, nah, this is just a hobby, whatever. And so she started putting it in my head, right? And the one thing that happened was that her next door neighbor had a dog that was unruly. So she called me up after this, constantly trying to get in my head to do this as a career. She said, I told my neighbor about you and he wants you to help them with their dog." She said, "But um, unless you take payment, they're not going to hire you." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm just doing." No, she said, "Unless you take payment, they're not going to hire you." All right, fine. So I charged them $35 an hour, right? And I was there for like 2 hours, but $35 an hour, like I said, just whatever. So then I went back to Jessica's house and we're working on her dogs and her situation. She goes, "Pat, you need to look a little bit more professional, not appearance wise, but business wise." She goes, "This is stupid. You're writing your phone, it's your cell phone number on your financial advisor business card. That just looks stupid." She says, "You need to look more professional." Okay. So she said, "I'm going to help you with that." Uh-huh. Okay. So she had some experience with graphic design and she was pretty creative. So she also gave me some ideas that I, you know, started to work on. And she said, one of the things she wanted me to do was she said, "You need a website." And I was like, "I don't need what you need a website." Okay. So I got a website. Then she said, "You need business cards." Okay. I need business cards. Okay. But here's the problem. What am I going to put on this website? What am I going to put on this business card? She goes, "That's right. You need a company name and you need a logo." And so she she actually was the one who, she basically created the first original logo and the original name of the company. Like I had an idea of what I wanted to call it, the business at that point. I wanted it to be my name. And also at the time I was involved with like pet sitting and dog walking. So I wanted to be like a full service pet company kind of thing, because I just want to be around the dogs. And I started off as a dog walker. So at the shelter. So I kind of wanted to continue in that and pet sit and the whole bit. So I wanted like a pet services company, but I also wanted it personalized. So I wanted my name in there. So I wanted a PAT in there. It wasn't the Pac-Man at that point. I wanted PAT in there. So she said, why don't we call it PAT Pet Services? And the PAT could stand for Positive Animal Training. Okay. So that's what we called it. We called it PAT Pet Services. And then since then, obviously, it's changed to Pac-Man to the Rescue because that's just more appropriate. And the logo, the original logo, she created as well. And then obviously I went through this other logo. And then, and once we rebranded to Pac-Man to the Rescue, created another logo. And now we're at the other logo with the chest of socks, the Pac-Man on there. And she created the logo. She told me to do the website. We created the website. She said, "You should get some car magnets." So I got these big ass car magnets inside, which I still have those. Not the same ones, obviously, but I still use car magnets in my car. And that's how it started. Yeah. So she started that she put that in my head because at that point I was charging people, like just to go. And like I said, it was $35 an hour. It wasn't a big deal. I was always there longer, but at least I was getting paid. It was almost like a part-time gig that I was getting money, but it was like a business. So again, we go back to the whole premise of I'm struggling trying to find my path. I'm going through all these different things, all these different ideas, all these different strategy. What am I going to do? All these different like far-fetched concepts. And this one's sitting right there, and here's somebody who recognizes how good I could be at this. And this was also during the time period, like this was afterwards, obviously, where I talked to the dog trainer and his mentor who told me that I that I sucked and I was no good. But gotta throw that in there, little hatred still. But but again, sitting at a charity event that I went to every single year, never met them before, sitting next to the two ladies. One of them needed help with their dog, and this particular person, Jessica, kickstarted my career in the dog world. You know, had it not been for her, would I have started this? Again, we could speculate all we want, but knowing what I know now, based on everything that happened, I had to do everything from scratch and start to build my reputation. And that's kind of like how it started, because that was where things started to kick off. Jessica introduced me to this person introduced me to this person, and it just kind of like started to snowball after the whole disappointment of, being told that I sucked, and therefore I wouldn't have had to, build a reputation. I wouldn't have had to do anything. I just would have, gone on, sign on with this other guy, work with the people that were affiliated with him, and I wouldn't have to do anything, but here I am. I had to like work extra hard to build my reputation and to build my brand. And I did, here we are. So, again, had it not been for her, I don't know what would have happened, and it doesn't really matter because that was God's plan. So these are just some examples of people that have come into my life at the right time and for the right reasons, and it goes back to everything that I said about faith and patience, is not having to worry. If I look back and I really think about it, because this was literally after that podcast about faith and patience where I started to think about bringing the people in, and had I not had if had Christina not given me that Bible, would I have done what Marvin asked me to do? And I'm going to say no, because I didn't have a Bible at home, and I would have been like, yeah, whatever. And I just went right back. So who knows where my life would have been had I not met had Christina not given me that Bible, and I would get very emotional about it, because like, it's easy to complain and to worry and to wonder and to think about, but then I don't have to think about it. It's because, things just work out, God just does it when it's the right time, a cat lady, a guy that I never talked to for 5 years, and a person just sitting at a charity dinner, and that's kind of how it is. And God puts the pieces in place, and it just evolves from there. So I'm always, every single night when I go to bed and I say my prayers and I thank God, and I always ask for protection and inspiration and guidance and support. And I always thank him all the time, even for the stuff that I really don't know about, because there's so much that if I go back and I start analyzing, it's like, holy shit, And so, God will bring you the right people, whether that's for business purposes, whether that's for a relationship, whether that's for health, whether that's for whatever, will bring you the right people that will get you to that point. Even like, people in relationship situations, you don't know, you may be ready, but maybe the person that's meant for you isn't. And that person's got to work out some shit first. They got to deal with it before, it's your turn. So God will bring you the right people, but you got to remember to be patient. You got to be patient when it's the right time, and everything works out, that's just a little bit that I wanted to share with you about that. And that's it. So, remember, let me know if you want to have your dogs featured on the board, and also think about what you want this thing called, whatever it is that you want. So wanted to thank you all for barking for balance. Any topics you want to talk about, and I'm sorry, any topics you want me to talk about, any questions you have, let me know. This is Barking for Balance. I am Pat the Pac-Man. Catch you guys next time.